The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and Your Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Wednesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. You can see that right above our heads. Anthony Hartwig, your host, with you. And Wednesdays brings along Brian Tolmar in a brand new office, buddy. Looking good.
I'll tell you what, it's we are getting there. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We should be wrapped up with the upstairs probably by the end of this week. I know they're finishing the putting green here Thursday and Friday, and then just some minor touches and some furnishing over the next probably 30 days. But December 1, we're looking to open and be off and running. But it's nice to be back in an office again. I've had that green screen on for, I think, just about all of our broadcasts this year. So it's nice to be able to actually share an actual office and to get into our new dig. So we're super excited, and the progress has been phenomenal from start to finish. But anytime you're displaced, it certainly presents a challenge, but the journey's been fun, knowing the reward at the end of the tunnel.
How much more efficient do you think you are as a worker now that you have an office? I mean, obviously you're always efficient, but it's got to be a little bit nicer to have a place you can go and sit and get work done and have your own little space.
Well, I certainly can find stuff a lot better. Through the course of working at about 2 or 3 different locations within the park, whether it's the main office, our maintenance building here where our superintendent works out of. We worked at the trailer at Wick Recreation Area for a little bit, and then Hole 55 for a couple months in the winter before they reopened for the year. So it's been nice to be able to bounce around and see those areas a little bit more in depth, because you can certainly improve upon each one of those areas that I mentioned. But to be in an office that has everything right in front of you and to have all your files and everything that you do on a daily basis to make the business operate the way that it should be is certainly a relief and a lot easier to manage and maintain what's going on, for sure.
All right, Brian, we have, state is under wraps, and we had a lot of great golfers obviously go down and perform really well at state, but we can't talk about it without talking about our state champions. Warren JFK boys go down there, they win state, and a great performance from all of them. I think 1 through 5, they had a really good showing down there in Columbus. Talk about Warren JFK and kind of what it took to win and what you saw from that team, not just in Columbus, but all season.
Well, I think about their team that's, a little bit different than other teams is how consistent they play through the 1 through 5 spots. Generally when you go down to state, you have a player or two, and you can go back to JFK, when Jason Kokrak was there and Colin Clement and McCauley and all of those kids were there as well. You had 1 or 2 players that could really go low and help out that 4th and 5th spot. Here, everybody from 1 to 5 played very, very consistent, over the 2 days. Obviously to be I think they were a shot back or 2 shots back after the first day, and then finished with a total of 649 for the 2 days. But if you look at their scores, Van Horn, 91-80. LaPaula, 81-76, Phillips, 80-86, Friedenberg, 78-86, and Bellino, 81-91. I mean, very steady. You got 4 really good scores both days there if you take the 4 out of 5 scores. So, I mean, top to bottom, everybody's scores were used. They played exceptionally well and played great as a team. Had the opportunity to see them play here in a couple of high school invitationals, and saw that steadiness from top to bottom. But they really turned it on towards the end of the season and continued to play well. And obviously, when you're heading into October in high school golf here in Northeastern Ohio, that's when all the chips are on the table and it matters the most. So, for JFK to get what they got out of their team this year, I think is phenomenal. Most of the kids are coming back next year, so you should have a nice little run with them and their lineup over the next couple of years. But to beat Newark Catholic, who was the leader after the first day, and give them a run for the money on the second day and shoot the scores that they shot, just shows you how consistent they are top to bottom.
They needed every ounce of that steadiness that you talk about because they beat Newark by 1 stroke.
Yep.
Just 1 stroke separated those two teams. Could you ask if anything better from a state championship? 2 teams just going at it. And like you said, Newark leads after the first day. JFK comes back and wins by 1 stroke. I think you can't ask for anything better from a state championship.
No, I think like any state championship team or the state tournament in general, it's a shot, 2, maybe 3 shots in between first and second place. So it's really going to come down to those last 3 or 4 holes, no matter what golf course you're playing down there in Columbus, whether it's North Star, whether it's Scarlet, whether it's Gray. But the weather is cold; it's not conducive, and we talked about that on some previous shows. How you play a little bit differently, you play a little bit more conservatively. As you try to hit more fairways, you try to hit as many greens as you can. You try to be able to get it up and down on holes that you miss greens. And I think those are the scoring opportunities where you can save a shot or 2 or 3 over the course of a round. And at the end of the day, when it adds up and you beat the runner-up team by a shot, after you've come back from a couple shots here from round 1 to round 2, I think that's what's really important. And I think, that for them to shoot what they shot is phenomenal. Obviously, conditions this time of year are very, very different. The ball's not traveling as far. It's colder. The ground's softer and wetter. Although the greens aren't firm, they're still fast. Had the opportunity to go down there, a couple weeks prior to the tournament because Preston practiced down there as well. Just to see the conditions. The rough was very, very deep, so you had to have a premium on driving, and to come down the stretch and to be able to win and to control your nerves on the last 4, 5, 3, 4 holes, each one of those matches between the 1 and 5 men on their team, I think, basically shows volumes of how good and how well they were prepared to play, especially in those conditions.
Like you said, almost everybody coming back on that team. So they might be reloaded for a repeat next season. We never know. We love watching JFK golf. And you brought up Jason Gokrak, and every time we talk to like Mooney football players or Ursuline football players, we ask them about living up to the tradition of the program and going into their school and seeing all the state championship banners from both those programs. So what do you think it's like for these JFK golfers to go into a program with such, decorated alumni that are obviously going and playing in the PGA? Do you think it's just an added motivation? Do you think sometimes it can be a little bit pressure-filled to try to live up to that name? What do you think it's like for the psyche of being in a program like that?
I think number one, it's good because it can be done. And, Jason had a tremendous amount of success there in Colin Clement as well. I mean, both of those players went on to play professionally. Obviously Jason's had the better career of the two, but Colin Clement played on the nationwide tour for a little bit on and off in some events up in Rochester while I was up there. And that's Gianna Clement's uncle. So I think the tradition and the history that they had there between obviously those two players and the litany of players that they've had in the past before them have really set the bar and made it obtainable. And I think, having that in the back of your mind, knowing that it can be done at a smaller school like JFK, I think only gives you tradition and the opportunity to be able to excel. So I think, having those banners hang there, it really allows you to give you something from a goal perspective to shoot for. It was been done in the past. We can do it now. And we certainly have the tradition to be able to follow.
Let's transition from Warren JFK, talk about Cardinal Mooney because they had a great showing at state as well. They finished third overall as a team, and they have 2 in the top 5 golfers in the tournament, including Rocco Turner, who won it last year,
yes,
and then Alex Eckstein, who finished second. Cardinal Mooney, I know we all wanted to see Rocco go down there and repeat.
Yeah.
He didn't have a bad round. It's just one of those things where other guys stepped up and had really good rounds as well, and golf is fickle. What do you see from Cardinal Mooney and their state run, and how much of a testament is it to have two of the top 5 golfers on your team?
Well, I think it goes to show you what we were talking about, and that's the difference between a JFK and a Cardinal Mooney. The lineups are extremely good, but you have one or two players that can really take the team total down by shooting an impressive number. And Rocco did that last year, and Alex is certainly capable and really did that this year with shooting that 148 down there and finishing runner-up. I think if you have the opportunity to go down there multiple times, and I think that this team will probably go down there again next year, and this will be their third shot at it, I think you're going to see basically the bar keep getting raised. But I think there's a lot of players on that team that are capable of getting better year in and year out. And I think, Alec Eckstein was a perfect example of that. He plays well at the national level with some PGA Junior League stuff. I've watched him play in tournaments over the summer, kind of following some of the scores that he's been shooting, and the Turner brothers is certainly in that as well. And I think if you carry that on year in and year out, you're going to put yourself in some great opportunities and some great spots, whether it be coming through those sectionals and district qualifying, get you opportunity to go back to Columbus yet a third time. So I think, this lineup is certainly capable of doing that next year as well. But it's more of the traditional path that we see year in and year out, where you're, 1, 2, or 3 players really light it up, and that gives you a little bit of buffer for 3, 4, and 5. And I think that was really the big difference between them and JFK. If you really compare those rosters, again, you have to get great team play from everybody in there. You're taking 4 out of 5 scores, and I think that consistency will come for Cardinal Mooney, and it's only going to make them better and continue to excel at what they're doing.
Eckstein and Turner obviously both named first team All-Ohio as well, so congratulations to both those guys and the entire Cardinal Mooney program on a great season. Brian, we had a lot of other golfers go down and compete in the state. Who are some other performers that you really saw do well and you want to highlight in this segment?
Well, I think, obviously we talked about Maddie Zines and how she's played, and we've had her on here as a guest. I think you have to include Hickory. They've won 3 times in Pennsylvania. They've played our place in the Canfield High School Invitational, so I've got to see them front and center. The Petrocco girl there has played lights out. She's played in our AJGA tournament, and to win the state tournament as a team 3 years in a row, to three-peat again, Hickory's not the biggest school. It's one of the smaller schools in Pennsylvania. Just goes to show you how good golf is over there in Western PA, and, just how good they play as a team as well. So, they're doing the right things. They're practicing hard. They're playing in team tournaments. They're playing in individual tournaments throughout the course of the summer. So they're getting to the point where they're very, very tournament ready. And I think if you have the ability to do that at a smaller school where the teammates tend to be a little bit closer, I think you have the opportunity to raise the bar, and the sky's the limit. So it's going to be fun to watch them to see if they can do it 4 years in a row, going out of the gates next year. But I mean, top to bottom, the scores that Petrocco's been shooting has been unbelievable, in the 60s and the 30s in matches at 9 holes. And, I think she shot 66 or 67 here. She's really lit it up and is giving herself some opportunities, makes a ton of birdies, and just, hits it really well off the tee. But top to bottom, their lineup is solid as well. So can't say enough about what Hickory's done over there in Western PA. So I think, all those teams, and golf as a whole, whether it be junior golf or collegiate golf or high school golf, is very, very strong for the Mahoning Valley. And it's fun to see our teams and our players excel here.
Maddie Zines finishes off her senior year with, I believe, her best finish down there at state. So she completes that goal of taking the next step on in the state tournament. And obviously she'll be staying in the Mahoning Valley because she's going on to play at YSU. So we love to see that. Brian, last thing I want to talk about, the players that got really close to state that didn't quite make it to Columbus that are coming back next year. What kind of hunger do you think that is for them, and motivation to kind of get back to that point and then take the next step and get to Columbus?
Well, I think it just goes to show you how close we are. And, we talk about, JFK winning earlier by 1 shot. It's a matter of a shot, 2 shots, 3 shots. And if you can improve on short game and getting it up and down on one more hole to give yourself an opportunity to make par instead of bogey or bogey instead of double bogey, that's really the difference in, being that upper echelon player at sectionals and districts and having the opportunity to compete at the state tournament. It's one shot or two. It's winning in a playoff. We had a number of events, sectional and regionals, that had people in 5-way playoff, 6-way playoff, 7-way playoff. So it's the opportunities to save one extra shot and work hard in the off season. Whether that be getting your body in shape by working out and lifting and the fitness aspect of it, or coming to places that have indoor simulators to practice and play and prepare. We certainly have a disadvantage in northeastern Ohio because we don't have the opportunity to play all 12 months out of the year. So we really sit idle for about 3 or 4, sometimes a little bit more than 4 months. So if we can change those opportunities into, number one, being more fit, having more stamina and practicing, whether it being, getting the data off a simulator and finding the right equipment match for you and, hitting balls and just keeping that swing going in those 3 or 4 months that we tend to sit idle here, I think are going to be huge. And then coming out in the spring, really putting an emphasis on short game to where you can save yourself, one more shot. If you can knock your average down by 1 or 2 shots, that's the difference between being able to make it out of those district sites and, going on to Columbus, because there's a lot of great players that have the opportunity to excel down at state that don't get the good fortune of whether not being having enough spots or just by missing it a shot or two at districts. A lot of good players don't have the opportunity to make it down there. And that's, one of the things that you really have to overcome. And I think practice and hard work are, some of the things that you have to do in the off season to prepare yourself for that falling season, and being that close to taste it and almost just walking through that door, or seeing some teammates, whether you're the 6th player on one of those teams that have 5 playing at the state tournament, because your high school matches, you have 6 in the lineup. When you go down the state, you only have 5. So learning what that team is doing, if you had the opportunity to travel as a 6-man or a 6-girl on any of those teams, I think is vitally important, because it gives you the opportunity to see what those players are getting to see for the following year and knowing how to prepare to get there.
There's a reason that winning a state tournament is so prestigious, because it's so hard to get into. And like you said, there are a lot of great golfers that just miss it. Doesn't mean they're not great. It just means that our state is really good at golf. That's just how it goes, especially our district. We've been talking about local golf and how good it is inside the YSN family. There's a lot of teams outside of the YSN family in our district and region that are really good as well. Brian, you're in a new office. We talked about that. A lot of new things, exciting things going on in Mill Creek Park. Give us a little bit of update. It's been a while since we talked to you. So what's been going on? What's been the update status report at Mill Creek Metro Parks?
Well, unfortunately, the last 3 weeks, a lot of golf has been going on during the week, but not so much on the weekend, because the weather has tended to be a little bit poor on Saturdays and Sundays for this month for whatever reason. I think, going forward, we obviously have our Snowbird Scramble here on November 12th. It's a Sunday. We're still taking teams for that. I think I have about 3 more spots available. So if you haven't had the opportunity to play in our Snowbird, it's a tournament that we have. It's a 4-player scramble. We tuck all the pins on some of the crest and the knobs, and it's what we call a severe pin placement, just to make something fun and to wrap up the year. So we have that coming up. And then, obviously, furnishing and preparing and getting the kinks out of the upstairs here to give players in the Mahoning Valley, whether you're a junior, high school, or collegiate player, an adult, a senior, male or female, an opportunity to play and practice in our indoor player development center that's slated to open somewhere around the 1st of December. And I think, once we get the TrackMan units calibrated, which will be tomorrow, and the putting green will be finalized here probably by Thursday or Friday, tomorrow or Friday of this week, we'll be ready to start applying for the occupancy permits and the things necessary to open the business. So we're certainly excited about that opportunity and having Hole 55 open up for 12 months and for food and beverage needs all winter long. I think that you'll find what we build here is spectacular once we do have the ribbon cutting and get everything open with an open house and everything. And, we're certainly excited to provide 12 months of golf. And, obviously there's more opportunities recreationally across the park with it cross-country skiing on the golf course in the winter, to be able to come here and finally have a building that's, heated and cooled, heated in the wintertime, to come in and grab something to eat while you're, sleighing through the golf course. And then the upstairs with the indoor golf capabilities and the Callaway Club Fitting Center that's coming, as well as being a big part of it, I think is very, very special. And again, we talk about fitness and getting prepared with your equipment. This is going to be the venue to do that. And I think it's what you'll find is it's state of the art, and it's going to be pretty exciting when the doors do open here and get everybody going.
We have a nice week for us here in the ending stretch of October. It's been in the 70s all week. Maybe a little bit cloudy today, but I'll take warm clouds over cold sun any day. Brian, it's been great to have you. Maybe a little bit of chance of rain on the weekend, though, unfortunately. Storm Tracker 21 does have it at a 40% chance of rain on Saturday. So 40%, that means 60% chance of no rain, though, right? So,
well, yeah, you're right. Well, that's it. It still means we've got some great weather for fall golf. Obviously, yesterday and today have been a blessing, and if we could just skip a little bit of that over the weekend, we'll be in great shape. It's fun to go to football games, but it's nice to be able to play golf before you go to that football game. So we're super excited about that.
Mother Nature always reminding us not to be greedy.
Absolutely. We're here in Northeastern Ohio.
Brian, it's obviously playoff football Friday, so before we let you go, I got to ask what game you're watching the most this weekend for first round of the playoffs.
Ursuline. It's been fun to kind of watch them and see what they've been able to do. They're kind of like the Ursuline old in the late 90s, early 2000s. So, it's going to be pretty cool to see them and see how far and how deep they can go in the playoffs. So obviously Canfield, can't speak more highly than them because we've got a son that's in their school district, and we went through the playoffs and had the opportunity to go down there to watch them at the state tournament in South Range as well. What a fun run that was in the fall. And I don't think anything gets your juices flowing and gets your level of excitement going than high school football playoffs and the college season coming to an end and getting ready for their playoffs and their bowl games, and the NFL and baseball finishing up. This is a great time of the year. The fall for me is super exciting because I love to play golf in the fall, and the spring is as well with the Masters and baseball starting and basketball coming to a conclusion. And there's two ends and that are what I call bookends to sports, and that's the spring and the fall. In the summer, is certainly super the way it is, but the things that I have the opportunity to be able to watch and take a little bit deeper dive in come in the spring and fall when we're not so busy, and the daylight, obviously gets a little bit darker early. So it gives us the opportunity to pay attention to some sports a little bit more. So it's a fun time.
Brian, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us every week. It's been always fun as always. And we'll see you again real soon next week. All right.
You got it. Thanks, Anthony. Have a good one.
Brian Tolnar coming on like he does every week, our golf guru from Mill Creek Metro Parks, the golf course. And man, it has been a really good week for golf. I mean, look at this. We're sitting at right now, which isn't even the warmest part of the day. Everyone says warmest part of the day is around 3 or 4. We're sitting here at, about 1:30, and it's 70 degrees. That's just unheard of in the end of October. We love it. It's that El Nino year where you get a little bit late start to winter here in Northeast Ohio. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get to recapping the night from last night. We had district semifinals in both volleyball and soccer. We will talk about that when we get back on Running Point. As always, we are brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. We'll be back in a bit.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
the solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Sheely's is more than a furniture store. We're a hub for all of your appliance needs. We offer the widest selection at everyday low prices, with over $1 million of in-stock inventory from Whirlpool, KitchenAid, LG, GE, and more. Our knowledgeable, no-pressure sales staff can help you find the perfect appliances for your home. We're there for you beyond your purchase to service what we sell and offer free local delivery with 24-month special financing. Sheely's, the best things in life happen at home.
House troubles can attack anytime. When trouble strikes, call Mighty Mike. Your hometown hero is on his way. HVAC causing havoc? Has your furnace gone mad? Mighty Mike Heating and Cooling will save the day. Commercial or residential, 24/7. For quality service you can depend on. Call your hometown hero. Call Mighty Mike.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
And welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com. Brought to you as always by our good friends in the top right-hand corner of the screen, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you so you don't have to. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. Anthony Hartwig, your host, as always, with you from 1 to 2. What we're going to do is we're going to bring up the scoreboard now on YSNLive.com. As always, the scoreboard presented by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. Let's go to the top so you can see their logo. This is a great tool for YSN fans. Whether you're at at a game or on one of our broadcasts, you never want to look away for too long. And this is a quick and easy way to get live updated scores on the YSN scoreboard. And it is always presented by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. Let's go into the volleyball scores. As always, we'll do the first 3 rows and then scroll over at the end to the one on the far right. Beaver Local gets revenge on Indian Creek. They beat the 4th-seeded Redskins 3-1. Beaver Local on to the district championship. East Liverpool also going to the district championship, the 1 seed in their district, making quick work of Minerva in a straight sweep. Congratulations to the Potters. They will play in Carrollton for the district championship. Austintown Fitch falls to a very good NDCL team. This is a team that Fitch beat earlier this season in 5 at Austintown. So you knew not only was NDCL motivated to get to a district championship, they were also motivated to avenge a loss. And I was there to see this game, took pictures for YSN's content. And I'll tell you what, one of the things that I really noticed was NDCL was just very consistently aggressive. They never really backed off the pedal. And you could tell that Fitch was at times struggling to get in the system, struggling to get an offense going. And because of that, they really couldn't get the middle involved. That's one of the big reasons why they fell in this game. Afton Roby got plenty of blocks, was blocking really well, but in the offense, they just could not set her enough to offset the two outsides that they have that do a really good job. But you got to get that middle involved, or the blockers are going to kind of just go right to your outsides. And towards the third and fourth set, NDCL was trying to get blockers on Kylie Folkwine and Jordan Smith because they weren't respecting Fitch's ability to set the middle. And you cannot set the middle if you're not in system. And unfortunately for Fitch, their serve receive just wasn't consistent enough to really get Afton Roby in rhythm and have her be that third option of offense to go to. You would have been able to be a lot less unpredictable. I felt like in that fourth set especially, Fitch got really predictable on offense. That being said, they're still really, 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 really good. I mean, Folkwine and Smith are both really good outside hitters, so even when you know it's coming, you can't always stop it. They both had double-digit kills, and Fitch was very close in the sets they lost. I mean, these set scores were very competitive. We knew it would be. The difference was NDCL was just a little bit more consistent, I felt. They were able to bring out a third set that was a turning point. They were down, I believe it was 22-18. NDCL was down. Austintown Fitch looked like they were going to wrap up the third set, take a 2-1 lead after the first two teams. After the team split the first two sets. But NDCL made a big comeback and got that win 26-24 over the Falcons in set 3. And then set 4, it was still close. It was still right there. NDCL took a big lead early. Fitch came back, tied it, kind of went back and forth from that point on. The Lions get the win in set 4, 25-22, to end that match in 4 sets. So NDCL, the reigning state champions in Division II, still alive and still kicking down there in Akron North. Southern Local, they fall to Canton Central Catholic in straight sets last night. So we have to say goodbye to the Indians and the great season they had. Riley Malott, Ashley Schroeds, both extremely good volleyball players that unfortunately see their season and their careers at Southern end. For volleyball, we'll see Ashley Schroeds at least in basketball as well, and that's where she'll shine absolutely the brightest. Ashtabula St. John and Wellsville have a monster battle, but it is Wellsville that ends up winning this one in 5 sets, winning set 5, 15-9, getting the win over St. John and moving on to another district championship game. That game will be against Canton Central Catholic. We had the opportunity for an all EOAC district final. Southern could not beat Canton Central Catholic, but the opportunity was there. That game will be at Lisbon on Thursday at 7 o'clock. McDonald gets the sweep of Lake Center Christian. You got to watch out for this McDonald team. I'm telling you, the way they're playing right now, they are just playing their best volleyball at the best time. This was supposed to be a close game, and McDonald swept in convincing fashion. There was no set that got more than 25-14. All McDonald in this one. Excuse me. Then you see Lisbon. They fell in their district semifinal to Open Door Christian, 3-0 in a sweep. We'll scroll down the boys soccer. We saw Badger edge champion 1-0 to advance to a district championship. Kirtland, way too much for Newton Falls. We were hoping that the Tigers might have been able to knock off the Hornets that are just such a thorn in YSN's side. But unfortunately, it was just not to be this night. We have a couple more opportunities this postseason to knock off Kirtland in a couple more sports, including tonight where Lakeview is playing Kirtland in the district semifinals down there in Medina. But in boys soccer, the Hornets, you got to give them their props. They get the win in convincing fashion. 8-0 the final score over Newton Falls. Want to congratulate the Tigers on a great season, a great run. It was great covering them all season long. Great people down there in Newton Falls, and we hope to see those boys in the basketball season maybe, or the spring, and we wish them the best of luck in everything they do in the rest of the school year. Warren JFK and South Range, this one was highly anticipated. We all knew it was going to be a great match. And man, was it. South Range, though, 3 first-half goals. Were able to hold off Warren JFK. It was 3-1 at halftime. 3-2 was the final score. South Range gets the quote-unquote upset, but I don't know how they're the 6th seed with 1 loss on the year. Go figure that. But they beat the 3rd-seeded JFK, and South Range advances to the district championship game. We have Columbiana and Beechwood doing battle, and it is Beechwood that gets the win 9-1 over the Clippers. Howland gets the win over Hubbard. Like I said before, postseason Howland is just a little bit different. You can't beat the Tigers too easily, and Hubbard figures that out the hard way. 4-1, Howland gets the win there. Canfield boys edge Marlington 1-0. So they avoid a little bit of an upset bid by the Dukes and get the win there. And then you have United. Well, actually, we'll scroll over to the last roll in a minute. First, we're going to get Beaver Local. They fall to Dover 7-0 in playoff soccer on the girls' side, the only girls' soccer game that went on in our YSN family last night. We scroll over. We see that United beat Crestwood 9-1 to move on, and United has a very powerful offense, so they're still kicking. And then Mooney edges Poland 1-0 to move on to the district championship game. Congratulations to the Cardinals. We go back up to volleyball. Western Reserve gets the straight sweep over Newton Falls, and now it is a matchup of the Blue Devils. We can officially say it in the district championship game. McDonald, Western Reserve, round 3. The Blue Devils have swept the season series, but as I said, McDonald playing very well right now. They are definitely playing the best volleyball they've played all season in the last couple of weeks of the year, and they are striding at the right time. Their defense is really working well. You see their dig numbers go way up. Obviously, when you're digging, you're playing good defense, and you make life easy on Megan Klockner. She is a high-level setter that gets that offense rolling. Gianna Costantino and Juliana Crumpack are both great outside hitters. They have Bundy in the middle. A lot of people for Megan Klockner to go to, and you also have to factor in that she's very aggressive and will dump it really well over the net as well. So McDonald very, very good right now. Can they solve the puzzle that has eluded them all year in Western Reserve? It's hard to beat a team 3 times, right? Western Reserve's going to have to do that. They got the win over Newton Falls in straight sets. I'll give you the stats for this one. We got them from Coach Hughes. Want to take the time to thank Coach Hughes for taking the time to making sure we get the stats and the information from this game. Let's see. Lisa Eicherts had 16 kills, 12 digs, double-double for her. Also a double-double from Olivia Hughes. 13 kills, 14 digs, 6 aces for her as well. Angelina Capabianco, who was playing middle, had 6 blocks, 5 kills, 2 aces. Let's see. Allie Jones, 21 digs and 2 aces. Haley Fellows, 17 assists for the Blue Devils, 1 ace. And Western Reserve obviously plays at Columbiana against McDonald. Also want to give a shout out to Newton Falls and Coach Baker, who also keeps us updated quite a bit. Danny Drake finishes her career with 20 assists on the day. Lily Sade had 10 kills. Peyton Murphy had 12 digs. And Lauren Burvish had 10 digs and 11 service points. So Newton Falls, they finished the season with a very impressive 17-8 record. And they will definitely move on to trying to rebuild next year off that big 17 win this season. So congratulations to Newton Falls on a great year. And also congratulations to Western Reserve and McDonald, who both advanced to the district championship game. Last but not least, Hoban gets the win over Brunswick in a thriller 3-2, the final score there, as Hoban edges out Brunswick in the district semifinal. So the Knights into the championship game. They will play Avon on Thursday, and that will be at Valley Forge High School up there in Parma Heights, Ohio. So the Knights looking for a district championship. They'll actually be the lower seed in this game. Remember, even though the Knights are undefeated, they won our power rankings. It shows you how good the Division I bracket is. They are the 4 seed in Division I. They'll play Avon, who I believe is the 3 seed in the district championship game down there in Parma Heights on Thursday. So very exciting for that. We have teams locked into the district championship. We're going to have more teams locked into the district championship tonight because it is the second round of district semifinals tonight. And we're going to go right from Tuesday into Wednesday and show you the games that are happening tonight. Playoff volleyball district semifinals. We have Dalton taking on Crestview. That one going down there on in Medina. This one will be on YSN thanks to a generous sponsorship from the Crestview community. So make sure to tune in to Ty Bartel as he goes down to Medina to make this call. Campbell Memorial, they're taking on Minter Lake Catholic in Grand Valley in the district semifinal. First time Campbell as a program has been in this round, and they're going to try to shock the world as they are going up against one of the best teams, not just in the state, but top 25 in the country as well, in Minter Lake Catholic. West Branch in the district semifinals against Kenston. That should be a fun one for sure. Edgewood trying to take on the top seeded Marlington Dukes. You have Columbiana and Middle Ridge. This one's going to be really fun. I think these are two really evenly matched teams. They both have good setting. They both have a balanced offense. They both play excellent defense. It's just going to be who has the better, more efficient day hitting. I think it's going to really come down to that. I know that's a cop-out because that's technically what every volleyball game comes down to. It's almost like saying, well, this football game is going to come down to who has the least amount of turnovers. Well, duh. But hear me out when I say they both have really strong hitters. They're both tough teams to keep it in on because they both have pretty good blocking and pretty good defense. So who can stay away from getting that frustration level up and start sending balls out is going to be key. Middle Ridge and Columbiana both very efficient. Their team hitting percentages, both of them, are pretty high, pretty above average. So we'll see which team can be a little bit more efficient on offense and stay away from those unforced errors. I think that'll be the difference. Girard going up against Aurora tonight. This one in Steubenville. Girard trying to get back to their third straight district championship game and trying to win district this time. They've been denied in the championship game 2 years in a row. They're trying to get there once again and then take the next step. The Indians and the Green Men fighting tonight in Streetsboro. Jefferson will be taking on Hubbard, an old NE8 matchup renewed in the tournament as the Falcons, the third-ranked team in the YSN Power Rankings, trying to do some damage tonight against the Eagles. Last but not least, in volleyball, we have Lakeview in Grand Valley playing Kirtland. This one's a fun one because Lakeview is the higher seed, and we all know that. They've had the bigger wins all season, but Kirtland is a sneaky, sneaky good team. We saw them go up against Jefferson, a team that gave Lakeview a lot of trouble, and they beat Jefferson in 5. So Kirtland, a very good volleyball team. They went to the district championship last year against Crestview. Got a little bit competitive against the Rebels last year, even though they got swept. This is a good volleyball team. This is a good volleyball team. Lakeview cannot overlook them to be saying, okay, we're gearing, because everyone wants to gear up for this matchup between a possible Crestview and Lakeview, but you got to pump your brakes a little bit and get past the district semifinals first. And Lakeview, like all year, it's come down to their defense, right? Their defense has been so good. They passed the ball well in the one game where they did not look good this year, which was against Middle Ridge. It was simple. They couldn't pass the ball. They couldn't get in the system. And when your best hitter is your middle blocker and you're not getting in the system, you're not going to have good things happen to you. So Lakeview, it's all going to be about the defense and the ball control. Can they keep in system and get Reagan Price set very consistently, get her going, and then let those outsides, Addie Allen, Molly Stewart, let them do their damage when the defense is so focused on Reagan Price. Last but not least, we have one boys soccer game tonight on the tournament. It is Hoban taking on Hudson in the district semifinal in boys soccer. So good luck to the Knights as they take on the Explorers. I want to say Hudson Explorers. I hope I'm right because I pride myself in knowing these nicknames for the non-YSN schools since we've been kind of seeing them pop up for the last 4 years against our teams in the tournament time. Believe it's the Explorers. I want to say Explorers. I'm going to be 95% confident that it is the Hudson Explorers. If I'm wrong, I'm sure my comment section will let me know because you always love to point out, hey, you know what? Hey, how we doing? So, that's it. That's your preview for tonight. We have great games going on the network. Remember, Crestview versus Dalton. Ty Bartell will be in Medina for that one. It'll be free, and it is brought to you by a generous sponsor out of the Crestview community. So we thank them for their sponsorship, getting us that volleyball game. If you are a volleyball team or a soccer team even that wants to see your tournament game get covered, maybe you're getting in the districts, get into the district championship, you want it broadcasted, you just have to find someone to sponsor it to save us the fee of the OHSAA. So if you have someone that is interested in getting your team broadcast, and make sure to reach out to us so we can work with them and we can get it all straightened out. And then we would love to get someone out there to broadcast your tournament game, especially as we get on to these later rounds. And we know that there's more and more at stake every time you win. So last round of district semifinals tonight for volleyball. When we come back tomorrow, we're going to know every district championship set. And district championships are going to be on Thursday and Saturday. So the teams that play tonight will play on Saturday. Obviously, the teams that played last night playing on Thursday. And to simple it up, it's Division 1 and 4 will be playing tomorrow, and Divisions 2 and 3 Saturday. So if you're out there wondering when your district championship is going to be, just find out what division your team's in. If it's D1, you're playing tomorrow. If it's D4, you're playing tomorrow. And if it's D2 or D3, you're playing on Saturday. So make sure to check that out. Good luck to all of our teams that are playing tonight in the district semifinals. We have a good chance at a couple of all YSN district championships. And I know the one that everyone is looking at, of course, is Lakeview and Crestview. That's going to be one that everyone wanted to see this year. It usually happens this season. They didn't pop up on each other's schedule. So everyone has been wanting it all season. But like I said, got to pump the brakes. You got to make sure that Lakeview can get past Kirtland, and you got to make sure Crestview takes care of business and gets past a Dalton team that really looked impressive against Garrettsville Garfield in the sectional final down there in Crestview. That's the good news. They were in Crestview. The Rebels got a chance to see Dalton. I know a lot of their players stayed for the whole game. Instead of just staying for one set, they were just right there at home, so they were able to stay for the whole game, scout Dalton really well. So Dalton, the scrappy team, they were able to get Garrettsville Garfield in 5. So, you can't overlook them if you're Crestview. You got to take it one step at a time, get past the Bulldogs, and then worry about your district championship opponent. And the question is it going to be a rematch of last year? Is it going to be the Hornets and Rebels? Or does Lakeview take the next step and get to the district championship? Remember, last year it was kind of the opposite way. Crestview met Lakeview in the district semifinals, beat them, and then went on to play Kirtland in the district championship. This year it's a little bit different. Lakeview and Crestview on opposite sides of the bracket. So they're going to, if they meet, they're going to meet in the district championship game with so much on the line. Man, I feel for Lakeview, though, because they've been good for, the last 6-7 years. And it seems like every year they're put into a bracket with just an absolute state powerhouse, that they, if you get by this team, you have a good chance at regionals, but you just got to get by them, right? Whether it was NDCL in Division 2, now it's Mirror Lake Catholic or Crestview. It's been tough draws for Lakeview, but hey, the old adage is you got to play them eventually, right? Even if you weren't in their same district or you weren't in the same region, like you're going to play that team eventually. So you might as well just play them early when you're striding right. So going to be a very fun night for volleyball, and one boys soccer. I want to remind you, one boys soccer game tonight. Make sure to find those scores after on Ysn's social media page. Go to the Ysn scoreboard for live updates on there. And other than that, enjoy the one broadcast we have. Ty Bartell going to Medina for that one. Once again, thanks to a wonderful sponsorship, a very generous sponsorship from the Crestview community. And we'll see you on Thursday, tomorrow, for Running Point. 1 to 2. We'll be back. Running Point always brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Tomorrow we will recap tonight's action. We'll talk about all the district championships that are set, and we'll also feature more player profiles, as always, on Running Point.